wonderful amateur by the name of John Butler, people know him as VK5NX, who unfortunately is no longer able to remember amateur radio, but he got me interested in amateur radio, and there goes my pill times. Down at the Wireless Institute, down at Theberton, the old incinerator, which was the South Australian headquarters for the Wireless Institute of Australia at the time. And while there, I discovered that there was 5 other people from around this area who were also doing the course. So we started the course somewhere early in the year. I'm not too sure whether it was February, and you said the name Bruce Wendt? Yeah, Bruce Wendt was our lecturer, tutor, very good. I thought he was an ex-Tellus.
Yeah, you worked at Telstra,
PNG, whatever it was at that stage. I know he lived too close to the transmitting tower down at Impala, and could only get up on air on VHF. But he managed to get us through the exams, and we all passed, the 6 of us, all passed the exam late July.
What year?
Now, that was 1990. We all passed the exam at varying degrees. I managed to pass the full theory and the novice theory and regulations. I didn't do Morse code, wouldn't work. Some of the others passed to the novice theory and did the Morse code and the regulations. And so we all came out with all sorts of call signs around the way, but all living in this sort of area. After we got our licence and some of us got on air, I remember making some of my first calls using the newly purchased handheld for VHF, and someone over here was one of the first persons who answered me. So we then decided that just as a social event, we got together on the back lawn of the house I own just up the road here in Bendigo Crescent on a Saturday afternoon in January in 1991, and had a barbecue and talking about things. And it sort of came out that, well, why don't we start a club? What a silly idea. And yeah, but unfortunately some of those people are either no longer amateurs or no longer with us. But we do see a couple of them. Lorenzo Sioni, VK5KO, comes to the coffee mornings occasionally. I don't see him very much. Frank Ayling, VK5VL, I see him occasionally at the Adelaide Hills by themselves. But a couple of others, Rob Kirkpatrick and Peter Woodbury of Silent Keys, Jeff Hanson, who was VK5ALO, whom I met again in the caravan park at Clare in October, has given up his call sign, so no longer has an amateur call sign, but he could get it back again easy. Anyway, it was decided to form a club. So if I can just have the list of what we've got up there. Just open can you just open document 1? Thinking about it? Oh yes, of course. So this was the first meeting, the inaugural meeting. It was the Unknown Amateur Radio Club we decided, because we couldn't decide on a name at the start. So we decided Modbury Radio Club wasn't really suitable because we didn't want to limit it to the suburb. But as you can see, some of the people who were there, Don Campbell is now silent, Key, Frank, Lorenzo, Trevor Quick, strange enough, Peter Gregg, whom I haven't heard from for years, Jeff Kent, whom I can't remember what Jeff's new call sign is, but he comes to the radio, the coffee mornings, some mornings, and RK, is it? Unusual time. John Butler, and yours truly. But there were quite a number of other amateurs in the area, many of whom I'd have to say I don't really remember anymore. They were with us for a few years, but then I think age took its toll. People like John Parsons and Doug Holly and George Burgess. So that was the first meeting, and as you can see, it was held at 18 Bendigo Crescent, Modbury. Yeah. And then we set up what was the aim of the club: to help educate members, to have a club help scheme. Wonderful, wasn't it? Sharing resources and know-how, and arrange social activities. I don't think that's changed very much, has it? We're pretty much doing that today. So, and yeah. And we were meeting once a month. And initially, in the first few meetings, we did meet in members' homes. So, which was all right. We set a sub of wonderful $5 a head per year. And yeah, so we did things like affiliate with the WIA and so forth. Eventually, as Trevor would point out, meeting in people's homes is a bit limited. The kitchens are not big enough. And we were fortunate enough to get in what was the TAFE buildings in the day, they're no longer there, get a room. So we held meetings at that TAFE, what was the TAFE College, for about 12 months. Until they decided to demolish the thing. I think it was where the new council changed.
Yeah, just near where we have coffee on
Yes, it is, yes. And then we moved in here. So we were here for quite a long time. And we did go up for a while up to the primary school up at, not St. Thomas Common. And then came back down here. So, yeah. So as you said, we started off as the Unknown Amateur Radio Club. What a wonderful name. So should have kept it. You might be right. Yeah. Well, one of the interesting things that we did at that stage, much in the same way as Tony's doing now, we'd established a weekly net, radio, VHF, using the Houghton repeater, and members took turns in running the net on a weekly basis on a Wednesday night. I think it was about 8:30 at night. And we start off on Houghton, and then we'd go to 147.2, if I remember correctly, and as a simplex. So we must have all been pretty local to be able to talk as that. But it's good to see Tony's continuing the tradition with a good ring around on Friday nights. So one of the other things we did, number 6 on the list there, please, Tony.
Yeah.
Number 6. It's not our logo these days, but we established a logo. Doesn't it look familiar? Yeah. I think every club had one with the antenna at the top of them and the earth at the bottom. Yeah. So, yeah, and then one of the things that I found just looking at some stuff this afternoon, if we go back to number 8 on the list, Tony. I found this in AR in June 1991 in 5/8 wave by Jenny Warrington, who was at that stage by ANW, says the TTP Club, I think it should be the Tea Tree Gully Club, as mentioned last night, now has an official title. It's the North Eastern Radio Club, or NERC, not to be confused with VK3 NERGs, with which we compete at CERG. If you'd like to be a NERC, so it gives you a chance to ring a couple of the members and that. But we did put a notice in the Tea Tree Gully TAFE College thing, which welcomed people to the whole hobby, so we were advertising a little bit, trying to get people to come and join us. But very much like today, we were a bit of a social club as much as anything. I guess because 1991, I've got to work out how many years ago that is. It's quite a few years, isn't it? So if we can go to number 17, please. Yeah. So we had a Christmas picnic meeting in the Civic Park at the rear of the Modbury Hotel from 6 p.m. to go home. So yeah, we did have quite a few picnics as in those younger days of the club. We were younger. We also used to enjoy doing what you call it now, but we'd set tasks for people to do, driving around the Adelaide Hills, looking to find things and so forth, and then end up as a picnic tea somewhere and so forth. So yeah.
A mobile scavenger hunt, and you've got to be on air.
Yeah, all that.
That'd be fun.
All that. And then in number 23, yeah, we put out a blurb to the community, setting out who we were and what we were about, what we were providing, and distributed those through the council and other places, various shops around the place. I think it did get us a few members, but yeah, it was one of the things that we tried. Then, lastly, in this lot, number 32, I'll take you back to the first President's report, very similar to the one we've just heard from our Secretary. So, of the things that we managed to achieve during the year, and but we had, and I think for the time, in July 1992, we had 38 amateurs in the club. And I think for a new club, that was pretty good. So we managed to get people around the place, and we did quite a bit of stuff. And I think, unfortunately this year, unlike other years, we haven't been able to ask our wives, partners, girlfriends, etc. to come join us on the AGM and have the chicken and chips and so forth, which most people tended to enjoy. But I'm sure we will again. So that social aspect of the club is very good. And we're continuing that social aspect with the coffee club on Wednesday mornings. So, yeah, so it was, yeah, I won't tell you who was present at that stage. And then if we can go back to the list, right at the bottom. As Stuart and co together at the moment. If you go to some of the photos, yeah, this was, I think it was one of our first John Moyle get-together. This was up on top of Anstey's Hill, where we put up an antenna. You might like to look at some of the other photos that were there. But yeah, I don't quite know who's the one holding up the antenna at the moment, but it seems a bit of a scruff to me. Never seen them. Most of them have got hair. Yeah, they did have in those days. Yeah. So to remember all the names is always a problem. That was the antennas we put up.
Oh, there we go.
That's serious.
Oh, it was serious. We were serious.
Did you
And
win?
there was Frank operating. I'm not sure what the radios were. I think it was a 440. I'm not sure. Was one of them. Yeah, we had great fun putting up the antennas. Yeah, there was 70 centimetres and 2 metres, so we're doing a lot of local stuff as well as HF. And HF was really buzzing on that. But Trevor got us, from memory, permission to get into the Anstey Hill Park. There was a place where we could set up just off the main road with a good look out over the town. Yeah, we got any more?
Probably.
Yeah.
23.
Yeah, most of the antennas were homemade, so it was good. It was good. And yeah. And John NX, who was our mentor at the time, and chief operator. That looks like it was in the annex of my J.K. Dub at the time. And I think the other caravan was Charlie, with the Charlie. Parents' caravan. So we had, for our operating discussions, was to share things, enjoy one another's company, and I think we're still doing that today. We've achieved 70 members, which is double what we had back then. I think we've done very, very well over the time. So I think while some of the club members who were there initially, unfortunately, are no longer with us, they're silent keys. The only two members that I know of who are initial members will be Trevor and myself, followed probably by Jeff Kent as being the other very early one.
And Lorenzo.
And Lorenzo, but I don't know that Lorenzo's actually a member of the club these days, but and I don't know whether he's doing much at the moment, but he had serious health issues for a while. So, yeah. So we've, the club has progressed, and if I have to say as a person who helped establish the club, I think I'm very proud of what the club's achieved over the years and continuing to achieve. And I just hope that we can get more of Tom, the under 60 group, to come join us and enjoy the hobby and have the same sort of fun that we've had over the years and continue to have, and the friendships that we've made. So I don't know if anyone's got any questions or any comments they'd like to make. You want to say anything, Trevor?
No, just to say here, we can all be technos and burn our fingers on the soldering iron, it's all good fun, but we need the administrative and social aspect to glue it all together to make it work. So thanks kindly for setting it up.
Oh, it wasn't just me. We've had fun over the years.
Yes.
Been good.
Farewell, for ye's a jolly good farewell, for ye's a jolly good farewell.